It hangs in our night sky, a silent sentinel. In recent decades, we have peeled back layers of its ancient secrets, discovering truths that defy its barren appearance. We now know of vast subterranean caverns, lava tubes hidden beneath the surface, offering natural shelter for the lunar bases of our future. We have found that this celestial body is not bone dry, but holds immense quantities of water ice, a resource vital for any sustained human presence. But these discoveries, as monumental as they are, may only skim the surface of a far deeper, more unsettling ocean of questions. In the quiet corridors of alternative research and among the whispers of former insiders, a different story of the moon is told. One of impossible domes, sprawling bases, and towering spires. Artifacts not of nature, but of intelligence. It is a story that asks a chilling question. Was humanity truly the first to walk upon the lunar dust? If you were told that structures of intelligent design stand on the moon, who would you imagine as the source? A fringe theorist, lost in a world of digital conspiracies? Or a former NASA contractor, a man who actively participated in the Apollo missions? Ken Johnston is the latter. He stands firm in his conviction that NASA's cameras captured something they were never meant to see. He speaks of a sinister structure, photographed in the heart of a lunar crater, an object he insists is of unmistakable artificial origin. By his account, the sight of these alleged domes and bases on official mission photographs left him in a state of shock. But the true alarm came when he presented the images to his superiors. He describes a palpable nervousness, an unspoken command to cease his inquiries, and most disturbingly, an order to destroy the photographs. The incident raises a disquieting possibility that the Apollo missions were shadowed by a conspiracy of silence on an unprecedented scale. Johnston is far from a lone voice in this wilderness of speculation. 3 years before Neil Armstrong's historic small step, NASA's Lunar Orbiter 2 probe captured an image that defies easy explanation. On November 20th, 1966, it photographed a series of stark geometric shadows, the unmistakable silhouettes of several colossal, cone-shaped towers. These alleged spires, located just 300 kilometers from the future landing site of Apollo 11, ignited a firestorm of debate that rages to this day. The moon continues its silent orbit, a repository of both scientific fact and our most fervent speculation. It holds a mirror to our own world, reflecting not only the sun's light, but our deepest anxieties about what might lie hidden just beyond the edge of the known. In the silent, airless expanse of the lunar landscape, they stand. Eerie, monolithic spires, some reaching heights comparable to a 15-story building, casting long skeletal shadows across the gray dust. In the stark light of a sun unfiltered by atmosphere, they defy simple explanation. Within the narrative of alternative history, the suggestion that these are not natural formations, but artificially crafted obelisks, gains a disturbing foothold. But what connection could structures reminiscent of ancient Egyptian monuments possibly have to the moon? This question opens a far deeper inquiry. Beyond their astonishing height, the very nature of the moon itself argues against their natural origin. The logic is one of cosmic attrition. For billions of years, our satellite has served as a celestial shield, enduring a relentless bombardment of countless meteorites and asteroids. Any prominent delicate peak, any towering spire, should have been pulverized into dust eons ago. The fact that they remain sharp and defined against the blackness of space, suggests they are either impossibly resilient or impossibly new. This brings us to the pivotal moment of the 20th century, the Apollo 11 mission. What truly happened in those historic days of July 1968, far more profound than planting a flag or winning a geopolitical race against the Soviet Union? The true objective, it is claimed, was to get a closer look at these and other artificial objects. Butler, whose work includes the provocative title, "Who Built the Moon?", posits that the entire space program was a meticulously planned reconnaissance mission. Evidence for this extraordinary claim is said to lie within the mission's most harrowing moments. As the Eagle lander descended toward the Sea of Tranquility, a strange and sudden crisis erupted. The navigation computer, the electronic heart of the mission, began screaming alarms, specifically a 1202 program alarm. The official explanation holds that the computer was simply overloaded, processing too much information at once. But proponents of this alternative view see a more sinister cause. Moments before, astronaut Buzz Aldrin had activated both of the lunar module's radar systems, the landing radar and the rendezvous radar. The conventional reason was to have a backup. The alternative reason? To conduct a detailed scan of the landing site to analyze it for what were termed potential artificial dangers. In this telling, the computer wasn't malfunctioning. It was being flooded with a cascade of data it could not comprehend. The complex geometric returns from immense, buried structures beneath the surface. Even if one entertains the possibility that the moon bears the scars of a highly advanced, non-human intelligence and that NASA is aware of it, the question remains, why the secrecy? Why would a world-renowned space agency conceal a discovery that would redefine humanity's place in the cosmos? Here, theorists often point to a document commissioned by NASA itself, the Brookings Report of 1960. This study soberly considered the potential consequences of discovering extraterrestrial life. Its conclusions were stark. The report warned that such a discovery could lead to profound social unrest, the collapse of religious and scientific paradigms, and a crisis of identity from which civilization might not recover. Based on this document, it is argued, a decision was made in the prelude to the Apollo missions. Any such finding was to be concealed from the public at any cost. And so the official history was written. The lunar landing was not proof that we are not alone, but a resounding triumph of human ingenuity. For the first time, our species had walked upon another celestial body. The world watched as Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and Michael Collins returned to Earth as heroes, celebrated with ticker-tape parades and global adoration. Yet, the same accolades were heaped upon the architect of their success, Wernher von Braun. He was a figure of profound contradiction, a man who first honed his genius developing rockets for Nazi Germany before becoming the indispensable mind behind America's journey to the stars. The presence of von Braun at the heart of the Apollo program adds another layer of shadow to the story. A man whose past was shrouded in the darkest chapter of the 20th century was entrusted with humanity's brightest dream. It forces us to wonder about the nature of the secrets he might have kept and the true purpose of the monumental machine he helped create. Did we conquer a desolate rock, or were we merely unannounced visitors to a silent, ancient museum, walking past exhibits we were never meant to understand? The answer may not be written in our history books, but etched in the long shadows of a world we only thought we knew. A legacy forged in two fires, one of destruction, the other of creation. He was the architect of the V-2 rocket, a weapon of terror that rained down on Allied cities, built on the backs and the bones of more than 20,000 captive laborers. Yet this same man, Wernher von Braun, would cast off the shadow of the Third Reich to become a celebrated American hero, the father of the Saturn V, the visionary who would propel humanity toward the heavens. His past was a brutal ledger of human suffering, but his future was written in the stars. In the 1950s, the cosmos was a realm of fantasy, the domain of pulp fiction and children's daydreams. The Cold War was escalating, but the space race had not yet truly begun. It was in this climate of burgeoning pork past joined forces with Walt Disney, the master storyteller and weaver of American myths. Together, they embarked on a mission not to build a rocket, but to build a dream. Through a series of televised specials, they reached into millions of American homes, transforming the abstract notion of space travel into a tangible, thrilling destiny. And von Braun's vision was unnervingly precise. In the film Man in Space, he laid out the blueprint for a lunar mission with startling accuracy. He described not just the journey, but the tools, specialized protective suits to shield man from the vacuum, and dedicated landing craft that would detach from a mothership to ferry astronauts to the lunar surface. This was years before the Apollo program was even conceived. But his prophecies did not end at the moon. As early as 1955, von Braun was speaking of vast, orbiting space stations, precursors to what would become the International Space Station. He spoke of humanity's next great leap, a voyage to the red sands of Mars. The question that echoes through the decades is not what he predicted, but how. How could one man, in an era of slide rules and nascent computing, possess such a clear and confident vision of the future? Was it merely the brilliant calculation of a singular intellect, or was his knowledge drawn from a source hidden from public view, a wellspring of secrets far beyond rocket engineering? Here, the official history fractures, giving way to whispers of the unbelievable. Some are convinced that von Braun was involved in one of the most clandestine projects ever conceived, a device built not for the state, but for the Vatican. They call it the chronovisor. It was said to be an optical time machine, a complex apparatus capable of decoding and reconstructing the residual electromagnetic waves left behind by past events. The objective was not to travel through time, but to view it. And the ultimate prize, the story goes, was to witness and photograph the crucifixion of Christ. To obtain definitive proof of the cornerstone of Westersk is a staggering, almost blasphemous proposition. His name is also tied to another, more cosmic secret. He is alleged to have once remarked that the next global conflict would not be fought between nations, but would be a war against extraterrestrials. On one hand, this could be interpreted as a grim metaphor. In the atomic age, with the threat of mutual annihilation looming, perhaps only a common, external enemy could unite a fractured humanity. It was a warning against the folly of human conflict. But others hear something else in those words. They hear the statement of a man who was not speculating, but disclosing. A man who knew that humanity was not alone. This suspicion is fueled by another purported quote, a cryptic admission that they helped us advance so far, so quickly into space. Who were they? The implication hangs in the silent void, an advanced, non-human intelligence providing a technological catalyst for humanity's journey to the stars. These ambiguous, unverified statements might be dismissed as folklore, but for the true believer, the most compelling evidence was found not on Earth, but on the Moon itself. December 1972. Apollo 17, humanity's final voyage to the lunar surface. To this day, Eugene Cernan remains the last man to have left his footprints in the moon dust. While Cernan and geologist Harrison Schmitt explored the Taurus Littrow Valley, they spent nearly 3 days in the alien landscape. And during that time, their camera captured something that did not belong. It was a structure, unmistakably artificial. A strange, attention-grabbing design of hexagonal geometry, a scar of perfect angles on a naturally imperfect world. The astronauts began to move closer to investigate this profound anomaly. But as they did, the world's window into their journey was abruptly shut. NASA, controlling the camera feed from Houston, severed the transmission. The screen went dark. The official record offers mundane explanations. The conspiracy suggests a deliberate cover-up, a moment when the veil was almost lifted, only to be drawn shut by those who guard the greatest secret of all. Wernher von Braun stands at the nexus of these worlds, the world of documented history and the shadow world of forbidden knowledge. A man who helped humanity reach for the heavens, perhaps because he knew, better than anyone, what was already there. The truth of his legacy remains as distant and as tantalizing as the stars he longed to conquer. A reminder that the most profound mysteries are not always hidden in the depths of space, but sometimes within the lives of the men who dare to take us there. On the final journey of humanity to the moon, the crew of Apollo 17 descended into the Taurus Littrow Valley. Their destination was a small impact site designated Shorty Crater. As astronauts Eugene Cernan and Harrison Schmitt worked at the crater's edge, the ground-controlled television camera aboard their lunar roving vehicle inexplicably panned away, capturing everything but their specific activities. This curious gap in the visual record has fueled decades of debate. The official discovery was groundbreaking, a layer of vibrant orange soil, later identified as tiny beads of volcanic glass from a primordial eruption. Yet for some, the true mystery of Shorty Crater lies not in what was found, but in what was overlooked. Meet to have spotted an anomaly, a strange, seemingly metallic object of a sophisticated automaton violently torn apart in some ancient cataclysm. What our eyes perceive as a trick of light and shadow, others see as the ghost of a machine, a silent testament to a history on the moon far older and more complex than our own.